Hello everyone, CoinHound here. As you can see on the screen, the 2023 American Women Quarter Dollar designs have been revealed by the U.S. Mint. I went on to coinnews.net today to check on some of the recent sales figures for the U.S. Mint when I saw this article at the top of the page, so I figured I would share it for those who are interested. It's a piece authored by Mike Unser, and it was published on September 2nd. And as it notes, the United States unveiled designs for the second-year coins from their 4-year series of American Women Dollar Quarters. Authorized under Public Law 116-330, the program of quarters has reverses, tail side, honoring the accomplishments of women who helped shape American history. Now, when this first series first came out, I was a little bit disappointed because I really liked the Washington crossing the Delaware quarter design. And I was hoping that would get a run for a few years. But I fairly quickly warmed to this series, and I have been collecting the coin rolls from the U.S. Mint that they put out for the quarter series. I have an enrollment for those. And I've also been trying to acquire each quarter in a slab graded version, PF70. So now we're looking forward to 2023, and they've put out these designs. So I just thought I would show you each design up on the screen and give you a little background on each of the women that are being profiled in the 2023 selections. So the first design shown is Bessie Coleman. You can see the design on the screen there. And Bessie Coleman, just giving a little background on her, was the first female African-American woman to hold a pilot's license. She lived in the early 20th century, and at the time, African-American women weren't really welcome in pilot training courses in the United States, so she did have to travel over to Europe on a couple different occasions to do her pilot training. Eventually, she became a very popular draw on, the air show circuit, if you will. And she was known for performing various difficult, dangerous stunts. Unfortunately, her life was cut short when she was killed in 1926 when a plane she was flying went into not a tailspin, but into a dive and a spin, of which she was not able to recover. And she ended up being thrown from the plane at about 2,000 feet and falling to her death. So a very unfortunate end there. And that death occurred in 1926, as I mentioned. So she is the first coin design that the U.S. Mint has in their listing there. And the design itself, as you can see on the screen, depicts Bessie as she suits up in preparation for her flight. And these words are from the Coin News the Coin News Net article, and reflective of her determination to take to the skies, the only place she experienced the freedom she didn't have on the ground. The second coin in the series is going to commemorate Edith Kanakaʹole. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly, and the coin is pictured on the screen there. She was a significant cultural figure in Hawaii, a Hawaiian dancer and teacher, and later on taught Hawaiian studies and Hawaiian language at the college level, this taking place in sort of the mid-20th century. Towards the end of her life, shortly before her death in 1979, she received an honor or an award for distinction in cultural leadership from the Hawaiian governor, marking her contributions to Hawaiian culture and to the Hawaiian people over the course of her lifetime. And going back to the article, the Coin News article, it notes the design depicts her with her hair and her lei morphing into elements of a Hawaiian landscape, signifying her life's work preserving the natural land and traditional Hawaiian culture. The third coin in the series for next year, and these are the order they were shown by the U.S. Mint and within this article. I don't know if this will be the chronological order they will be released in when they're ultimately released next year, but perhaps they will be. But anyways, the third coin here is Eleanor Roosevelt, probably the best known of the figures for 2023. Eleanor Roosevelt, of course, was best known for being the wife of Franklin Roosevelt, the President of the United States, who served 3 terms and the beginning of a 4th term before dying of a brain hemorrhage while still in office. So she was known as First Lady. She was also a significant diplomat and a political activist. After FDR's death, she did serve as the United States delegate to the United Nations from 1947 to 1952. While she was First Lady, she was a bit controversial because she was quite outspoken on various political issues in her role as First Lady. And this was kind of a breaking of the norm up to that time. She held regular press conferences. She wrote a daily newspaper column and had a weekly radio show, all expressing her views on various topics of the day. She spoke out for an expanded role for women and in support of civil rights for African Americans and Asian Americans. She died in 1962. And you can see the new design there on the screen. And as the Coin News article notes, it depicts Eleanor Roosevelt and the scales of justice against a backdrop representing the globe, symbolic of her impactful work with the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. So the 4th coin in the series is Jovita Idar. And Jovita Idar was a journalist, a teacher, and a political activist in Texas. She spoke out publicly in support of Mexican Americans and Mexican American immigrants and on political issues related to Mexican Americans. For example, she wrote very forcefully against some of the actions that Woodrow Wilson took in dealing with his foreign policy towards Mexico, including protesting a stationing of American troops along the American border. This earned her a visit from the Texas Rangers, who'd attempted to shut down the newspapers she was working on. And her work was primarily done in the early 20th century, and she did die in 1946 in Texas. The final figure is Maria Tallchief, who, as the name suggests, was a Native American, and she was a Native American ballerina and became one of the United States' leading ballerinas during the 1940s, 50s, and into the 60s. In 1947, she was the first prima ballerina of the New York City Ballet. She was the first American to perform with the Paris Opera Ballet. And after her retirement, she became artistic director of the Chicago City Ballet. Later in life, in 1996, the Kennedy Center honors were given to her. These are honors that are given out each year to a small number of artists for their artistic contributions to the U.S. And in 1997, she received the National Medal of the Arts, which is the highest award given to artists by the U.S. government. She would ultimately die in Chicago in the year 2013. Okay, and as it notes, as the article notes, the design depicts her in a balletic pose, has her Osage name, which translates to 2 standards, and, of course, the standard inscriptions that American quarters have. Okay, so these are the designs for the 2023 American Women Quarters series. Let me know in the comments if you have any interest in this series, what your thoughts are on it. Are you collecting any aspects of it? If you enjoyed the video, hit the like button, of course. And as always, hope you have a great day, great evening. This is CoinHound signing off.